sure all the members are present. 4.0 student rep information.
Alright, welcome back everybody. Our first day of school was last Tuesday. We had orientation in the auditorium where we met all of our senior high teaching staff. It was nice to meet them again, and our new staff. Then we went up to the football field where we separated by classes. We got our schedules, and then we had activities out there all morning. We had the National Guard set up a little obstacle course. We had them set up knocker ball. We also had board games, yard Yahtzee, and so on. At lunch, the school had a barbecue for us, which was very nice of them. And then we just continued with classes like regularly. On Wednesday, we had a motivational speaker, Reggie Dabbs, who brought many laughs, and we wish to have him back. He also did a concert that night, family night, for all of the parents who didn't get to show up during the day. We started our fall play auditions today. We will also have them after school tomorrow. Early release has started on Wednesdays, and it has gone well with the help of Miss Williams directing us after school for those of us who are deeply lost in what we're doing. And for sports, today the girls tennis team had a match in Duluth. On Tuesday, the girls volleyball team will play Northwoods at home at 7. Thursday, we have a home cross-country meet. Thursday, we also have a volleyball game in Mountain Iron at 7. And Friday night, we have a football game against Mora at home. And speaking of sports, we are in need of a new mascot, so if anyone is interested, they should contact the office for more information. Thank you.
There you go, Mike.
Not too short. Thank you. 5.0, any additions and deletions?
I just have one this week. I'd like the board to consider a transportation contract in conjunction with our collaboration effort. It would be 12.5.
And 6.0, visitor input. Start with Thomas Halfdahl. Please limit it to about 5 minutes and stand up to the podium, state your name.
My name is Tom Hoffman, and I was here obviously for that meeting that we had before, a nice lively discussion. I'm still a little concerned about the fact that we didn't have a real focused discussion on how to deal with the track practice next spring. And so I'm asking the board to, at the next meeting, if you would, if you can, I don't know exactly how you set these things up, but have on your agenda an opportunity to speak amongst yourselves about how we're going to deal with that track for next spring, so that a motion can be made to return that track to a usable form for the track team. And personally, I think that motion needs to be made so that it's taken care of immediately after the conclusion of the football season. Because if you wait till spring, now you got to wait for frost, and you got to wait for the mud to dry underneath it. So it's got to be something that's done in the fall. So I'm asking the board to consider more focused discussion on that, and to come to a motion to take care of that track so it's ready for those athletes in the spring. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Deanna Kersey. I am the head girls track coach here for Eveleth-Gilbert for the last 34 years. What I'm asking is that there's open communication. We have a 3-sport facility up at Moore Stadium. It is 3 sports. And we've had in the past many huge discussions on what we're going to do with this facility. It is a safety issue. Things aren't legal. Everything, it's 100 years old, everything. And I would hope that you could make a motion where we could start an open dialogue about trying to get better facilities for all of our athletes. It's not just track, it's football, it's tennis, it's swimming. Sports is the core of a school. Athletics is number one, academics is number one. If my dad were here, he'd say athletics. Anyway, my track team has always been on the gold honor roll for track through the state. We sent 20 track athletes last year to skate last spring to the state competition. We have about half of those returning for next year. And I train these girls very hard as best as I can on the facility I have. And now I never let them complain. We have what we have. We're fortunate, and you are our Golden Bear pride. You just have to do what you need to do. But now, how do I train those athletes to get better? I know that if we were to have had a real track, all-weather track, the athletes, I could have trained harder and better on a track. Because hurdling, I don't know if any of you have been at track meets, the stepping is unbelievable for hurdling. You can't get that on a cinder track. You can't get that in a gym, and that's where we train. But I do know that's a huge, huge burden on your shoulders as a school board to start saying we need to do something with this school. And I give you all the support I can. If you want, I would love to be on a committee because I am very much Golden Bear pride. Most important is to communicate. Because when somebody is told something about your track program and it's a big joke, that hurt. And all I could think of is how hard my track girls and our track boys have trained. And it's to me a slap in the face. So I hope for that program. I'm hoping that you as an athletic board, academic board, you make it important to make this school better. That's your job. And you will get the support from people in the community. You'll have the athlete support, you'll have the community support, and we got to make this happen. Because little by little, everything in our school is a safety issue. It really is. So thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Olson. I want to say me and my husband graduated from this school. We're Golden Bears. We moved away. We came back because we wanted to bring our kids back here. We have our 3 older kids were in track. Our daughters were phenomenal in track, and they were running on the streets. You have in the spring the little sand. They were falling. They were getting hurt. There's cars. There's traffic. There's a lot of ways for them to get physically hurt because they're running on the roads. And I know the track is expensive. When Kersey and I and Inti had worked on this 3-4 years ago, we spent hundreds of hours looking at the architect plans, doing what it was going to cost. We did meet with some professionals as far as the financing, and there is a lot of financing, a lot of grants. If we open it up to the community to use, Special Olympics, soccer was very interested. I just think it's a need, and it would bring more pride into our community and get our kids and the parents involved. When I was in school, we had so much Golden Bear pride. Even though we merged, it was hard, but we merged, and it was, it was sports day. We were always dressed up. We were always at the games. We need to bring that back to the school because it's really, people are busy, but we need to get the community involved in doing this. And I would like to be a part of that. I think it would be awesome for us to have, and I believe that it would bring our enrollment up. Let's correct things and bring our enrollment up, because our kids, the friends that they talk to, I know kids that have went to other schools because of the facilities. Let's stop that and try and get some of them back and advertise and advocate for our school. It's right here, and it's an awesome school. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on. Item 7.0 is approve the agenda. Presented. I'll move. Motion Peterson,
Second.
second by Andrews. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 8.0, approve the treasurer's report for the month of August and first check writing in September.
Okay. For the month of August, we have the receipts. General fund, $1,659,278.62. Food service, $458.25. Community education, $3,606.66. Debt service, $10,067.76. Bond payment, OPEB bond payment, $2,769.76. Disbursements, general fund, $365,647.22. Transportation, $34,578.08. Community education, $3,062.87. Capital outlay, $219,231.91. Channel call, $1,625. What you got? $41,752. Total of $665,887.08. Payroll of $493,274.27. Transportation, $35,810.26. Flex benefit plan, minus $1,837.52. Total $527,247.21. Yeah, checking balances, the miners bank, $4,335,538.55. Excuse me. First National Bank of Gilbert, $2,051,088.40, for a total of $6,386,626.95. First check writing for the month of September. Disbursements, general fund, $161,228.24. Food service, $10,000. Transportation, $3,748.71. Community education, $912. Capital outlay, $11,567.55, for a total of $186,676.50. At this time, I make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Motion by Jolene, second by Saylor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the consent agenda. A is approved the minutes of regular meeting Monday, August 28th, 2017. B, approved 2017-2018 extracurricular assignments. C, accept donations from baseball boosters. D, authorize business manager to provide oversight for non-audit services. E is accept donation from Gilbert Community United Methodist Church school supplies. F, accept grant from the Northland Foundation. G, accept donation of school supplies from Joan and Joe Sterlicher for the Franklin School. Call for, make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll move and just like to say thank you to all those that donated.
Motion by Peterson.
I will second.
And any discussion on that?
Mr. Chair, I just, second what Mr. Peterson said, I'd like to thank Joan and Joe Sterlicher for the supplies they gave to the Franklin Elementary. We got a $1,000 grant from the Northland Foundation for our early childhood program. The Gilbert Community Methodist Church also gave a lot of school supplies to the Gilbert campus, and actually are still bringing it in. And then, of course, the baseball boosters donated $3,000 for the purchase of a new pitching machine. Thank you for all of those donations, we really appreciate it. You gotta vote for that.
Oh, yeah, we can vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10.0 was items from the consent agenda. 11.0 personnel. 11.1 approve the .4 science teaching assignment of Jessica Cortez.
Mr. Chair, Ms. Corticus currently is employed by us as a .6 math teacher. We were unsuccessful in finding a licensed science teacher, so Ms. Corcus is going to do that portion of the grants. And this is over at the Gilbert campus. That brings her total to 1.0.
I'll make a motion to accept the appointment.
Motion
Second.
by Sayers, second by all those good with that. Any discussion?
I thought we had already approved that.
We approved her .6 math, but we did not approve the .4 science.
I'd just like to say thank you to her for helping us out and filling in that gap. It's pretty hard to fill those part-time positions, and it works out because she looks part-time, so she's getting full-time.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next one I'll be abstaining from, go to point 2, approve health service assistant appointment with Samantha Chad.
Mr. Chair, we, probably about a month ago, I asked the board for approval of 4 additional hours at the Gilbert campus. There was a team that did interviews and are recommending that Samantha Chad be approved for that position.
Was it 4 or 6?
A total of 6. There was 2, we added 4.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
So why wasn't Roxanne Kelson given the job? Being that she was already doing that job already?
We discussed that here right now. We have a hiring committee, this is the recommendations we have to act.
There's not a motion on the floor.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a motion.
She's been doing the job for 2 years now.
We don't have a motion yet at this point, so.
At that point, I would like to make a motion that we approve the appointment of Samantha Chad.
Motion by Peterson.
I'll second it.
Second to Saylor. And now we'll go up for discussion. We voted to. This individual herself, not, this position itself, not the
Not
position.
individual
Right,
The
names.
position, not the person.
At the last meeting, we talked about adding 4 hours, the current position. Okay.
No, it was
We didn't
actually-
talk about adding a new position,
No, we talked about.
we talked about adding hours.
No, it was a new position, because it's more than what we had there before.
So why wasn't she given the job then? Why would you give her first right of refusal to the lady that's doing it?
If I understand correctly, if it's a change in position, whether it's hours or anything, if it's a change in position, then it's considered a new position, is that correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Carey, was this position posted for him?
Yes.
Well, is there any reason why she could not be, the president, nurse could not be stepped up to his extra hours and pick up a para and bring a para up to take care of that position, the 2 positions she's doing now?
The position was
She's
posted.
been doing the job for 2 years and
The
no
position was
complaints that I know.
posted, there was a committee that made a recommendation, and that recommendation is in front of you right
Who sits on the committee, yeah?
Right here.
It's on the hiring sheet. Part of the board packet information.
I mean, how could you not,
Two principals and-
how could you not
And the
hire,
current school nurse.
Yeah.
how could you not hire somebody that's been working with our district for 2 years already? And how could you give,
I would think that that conversation was had within that group. I mean, I'm just saying, I've done interviews and I know
I
that,
wonder why we can't keep people around here, you know, and the lady's been working here for 2 years and we just pass her up.
I guess I don't know enough about whether it was her personal choice or not.
That's the part of this job is, I mean, that's pretty harsh to make those broad columns when we don't know the details, and it's not really our job. We hire people to do those jobs.
But in defense, we approve those items.
Absolutely. But we've all been phase 1 and 2 training, and I keep talking about the common recommendation of the people that we hire. And
prior to
And
June.
we've also had the MSBA come up here and do our personal board trainings, and they reiterated phase 1 and 2 trainings on what our jobs were. And
My question is, why is she on the job already? Is this correct? Understand that?
I believe she's filling in as a sub right now.
She's filling in as a nurse. Well, it's on the agenda for.
She's filling in as a substitute
No,
right now.
who authorized this then?
She's filling in as a substitute right now.
Substitute nurse?
So the position in Gilbert is the 6 hours.
Yes,
It's no longer, there's not an additional 2-hour nurse plus the 4, plus para. It's
Right.
just,
different position.
So what happens to the hours of our existing nurse?
that was
I mean,
the
Is she
2
bumped
hours.
down or what? She's at a total of 8 now, or, I mean, because you need it to all one person, that means all, one person gets 6, correct? So what happens to what happens to her hours, the old nurse? Does she get bumped back down to a para, or what?
Yeah.
Well, that's not, I don't feel that's right. Oh. That's not right.
But that's the hours that she has rights to.
Yeah, but first right of refusal should have been given to her. You know, if she wanted it, she should have got it. And if she had to take a test, well, did she take a test?
Yep.
Okay. And the results were?
I don't want to
Yeah,
air
they
someone's
can.
results
Yeah.
on their test
Yeah.
All right.
report.
It's up to a hiring
Okay,
committee.
all right, that's just information I would like to have. And I've requested it before in meetings, and I just never, how can you make informed decisions when you don't even have enough information in front of you?
phase 1 and 2 training goes over that stuff.
Mike,
It's
Mike.
recommendations of the school board, of the administration. We don't run the school, we govern the school.
Background.
Right.
Let's go to page 38 of MSBA. Usually, this is what the public can get. If I can't get it, and the public can get it, obviously there's an issue.
Can the public get test results?
Absolutely.
Mr. Chair, I think this discussion is going in the direction that's outside of the scope of this agenda item.
Agree with you, and call for a vote. This point.
Keep going.
No,
Okay.
that's not on there.
At this point, so, all in favor?
I,
Opposed?
No.
No,
Okay, so it's, I have to abstain, so it's 4 yeses and 2 noes, correctly.
The motion doesn't pass, you understand that, right? It has to be unanimous. You are you married? Are you married? To this person, it doesn't matter.
I
It has to be unanimous vote.
have to abstain from it, that's all I have to do. This is my superintendent.
It's abstention.
Okay.
No, that's not right, that's not correct.
Motion carries. Motion carries. 4-2.
Mr. Clerk, I agree with the chair. And we report it as
Mark. There's the statute right there.
I'm not going to be debating statutes at this point, we'll move on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to 11.3.
Discussion, because I had a question just relevant to something else. When she starts, is it 85% during that probationary?
Yes. For 6 months.
That's a contract on it, right?
I think these are on here.
11.3, we're on. Approve .1 FTE elementary science position for Teresa Allen.
We have traditionally had science in 6th grade at the LSHE. Just because of how things worked out, we did not have anyone available to teach that this year, so Miss Allen is the junior high teacher over there. She's currently in .1.0 and does have time in her day to take on that responsibility of doing 6th grade science as well, which will be an additional .1 to her assignment.
I will make the motion to approve Teresa Allen at a .1 FTE elementary science teacher.
I'll second.
For discussion,
Yeah, so enough for discussion.
would that be overtime for that .1 position?
Yeah,
which is
and
already at
it's a very funky equation.
Okay, but it would be
It is, yes.
with her.
I can give you a ballpark, it's about $4,500.
I'm just wondering if,
Is she okay with that? Is she
Yes,
feeling
she
she's gonna be
understands.
overwhelmed or?
She understands what she's saying. She actually she was the elementary person last year. So it's not new.
Thank you to her for filling this hole again too. I mean, it's an overload, but thank you for willing to do that.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 1.4, approve Ann Voss for Title I position.
Ann Voss is a former teacher here, an English teacher. She has, we have struggled to find people to do junior high Title I. And had, of course, is our band coordinator as well. So she's willing to do that for us this year. Good that we have that filled out. Usually we're filling it around Christmas.
I will make the motion to approve Ann Voss for the Title I position.
Second.
Dr. Leonard. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 1.5, approve 1.0 FTE elementary teaching position for Ann Riles.
This is the one we discussed at the last meeting, as far as splitting up the sixth grade over at the Nelsheen. And we did have 2 applicants, and then the committee chose Ms. Riles. Partially, this will be paid through Title II-A. We'll probably be responsible for about $20,000 out of our general fund.
I'll make the motion to approve the position for Ann Riles.
Second.
Second by Andrew. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 1.6, we call Nancy Judnick for Title I position.
Mr. Chair, the next 3 actually are, of course, as I explained in the past, we have to lay off title positions in the spring due to the fact that they're on a 1-year grant. So, these are all 3 of these people are people that have been here. We got a grant amount, it's only about $3,000 less than it was the year before, so we are looking to hire most back of what we had. We did have a couple retired, so we're still about 2 short at the moment, so. But we are looking for new people, and we don't have any applicants right now, so. But these 3 are willing to come back, and that's good. 2 of them, 11.6 and 11.7 are in Franklin, and 11.8 is in Nelsheen.
Recall.
I'll make the motion to accept the recall for, I'm assuming individual motions,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
one, Nancy Judnick.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
Thank you for coming back.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 1.7, recall Georgia Apted Title I position.
All motion to recall Georgia at Title I position.
I'll second. Any discussion? Thanks for coming back. Any no further? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 11.8, recall Mary Jo Brnovich Title I position.
I will make the motion to approve Mary Jo Brnovich to the Title I position.
Other support 50. Discussion? Thanks for coming back. Without further, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 12.0, new business. 12.1, set meeting date for truth and taxation.
First one on it?
12.1, oh, I got it on.
I must have given you the wrong one.
Oh. The information sheet's wrong, I don't know.
Sorry.
Okay, 12.1, approve athletic trader contract, St. Luke's.
All right, at a previous committee meeting, the board had discussed, we started off by talking about the baseline concussion test and evolved into should we or shouldn't we have a athletic trainer at our events and available to our students after school. Oh, I had it wrong on that.
We'll blame it on the girl.
Wait, I think my finger bumped out, sorry. Anyway, so I think the next day, actually, I got a call from Director Sather, said that she had ran into somebody or somebody, and a few phone calls were made, and we set up a meeting with St. Luke's, and we had a very positive meeting with them. They are willing to provide services to our home events, as well as 2 days for 2 hours after school from 3 to 5, like a Tuesday, Thursday type of thing, to provide training room hours. They're also willing to provide training to our coaches for taping and such. In return for their services, of course, we would have to approve their advertising. They want St. Luke's posters on the football field and the basketball court, in the programs, things like that. But there is no direct cost to us other than the advertising at this point. They would be willing to start. They feel that they could find somebody and put it in place by October 16th. He did say that he could potentially have somebody here for a few events prior to that to approve this tonight. But there you go.
Did we supply the advertising banner or whatever,
Yes, they do.
I recall reading through this, there was kind of a meet and confer to kind of iron that out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to get some conversation going, I'll make a motion to approve this contract. I think it's a great thing.
I'll second it.
Second by Eddie.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
I noticed that, discussion part, I noticed too that they, would reimburse for that impact factor.
Oh, forgot to mention it. They won't reimburse for we still have to buy the impact test, but they will administer it. And then
Okay,
their person is actually licensed to, when it happens on the field, they can actually administer the second part of it too, of the ball.
okay.
So that's why we haven't administered it at this point, because they know what they're doing, so we'll wait until they get here.
It was implied that it was at their cost versus paying something else. Or-
It's at their cost if we choose not to buy the impact test ourselves. They told us, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it would be cheaper for us to buy the test and they'll just administer it.
Okay. Especially if we have, if we expand the fitness center, if we look into doing that, then we need to have an athletic trainer in there. I appreciate that, it's a great opportunity.
The words out of my mouth, it's a great opportunity. Very good suggestion, Bill.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12.2, approve second reading of policies. No, we're going off which one are we going off?
Information sheet, I thought.
Yeah, I'll just go up the information sheet.
12.2 is the second.
On the information sheet. Public
It's
comments.
right here, because it's got all the information in it.
12.2, approve second reading of policies.
I'll I'll make a motion, approve it.
Second. Motion by Peterson, second by Andrews. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12.3, now set the date for the truth and taxation hearing.
Mr. Chair, every year it's required that the school district holds a truth and taxation hearing. It has to be after 6 o'clock. It's an explanation of why our levy is the way it is and gives the public opportunity to comment on the levy if they so choose. This year, we always have a representative from our truth and taxation meeting and give the information. This year, she is available on December 11th, which coincided with a regular board meeting, probably. And so there you go. December 11th is when she's available, so we're kind of tied to her schedule.
How did we do that last year? We did like, it's our
We did it.
taxation at 6 and then we went into a regular.
Well,
meeting.
last year she couldn't come on many of the board meetings, so.
Well, one of the years we did that, we just
Yeah.
rolled into the board meeting after that.
December 11th.
December 11th?
Yeah.
Does that have to be a motion, John?
Yes, you have to set that truth and taxation meeting for December 11th.
The motion to set that?
I'll make a motion to set that for December 11th at 6 o'clock.
Yes, it has to be.
Motion by Saylor, I'll second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 12.4, closed session discussion negotiation strategies. 13.0.
We have 12.5 and 5.
Yeah, we were 12.5 too, yeah. See, I got the right sheet.
It's a transportation stuff.
Yeah, we still need,
Oh,
set the closed discussion, so. Motion,
I'll move.
I just do that.
I would second.
all in favor, actually, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. 12.5, transportation.
In front of you, we had talked at the last collaboration meeting about the possibility of a consultant coming in to do a study on joint transportation routing. And I had one available to you that night, and I give you a second copy now tonight. There's another one from, that I talked about that night, from Vanderwall Consulting, the cities. This is actually what this company does. That's all they do is transportation consulting. They're actually one of the few in the state. There aren't very many of them that just do transportation. But you can see, if you look at the first page there, his take on it is quite a bit less than the previous one we looked at. At this point in time, I mean, I would like the board to approve Vanderwall Consulting. However, I'm not necessarily asking you for $3,000 at this time. We're gonna look for other means of finance. I just wanna get the ball rolling to get this guy on our calendar.
Is this gonna be divided between the two districts now?
Noel and I are actually gonna look for a grant for this.
I would make a motion to approve the Vanderwall bid for the transportation.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
If there is no grants on that 3135, is that?
We'd be on the hook for half of it.
Okay.
So, another part, just looking at this Vanderwall right now, are we gonna get everything that we need? Because there's a huge difference for 3135 versus 18,250.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is, the previous one that we looked at, that isn't their wheelhouse necessarily. They don't do transportation consulting. We were scrambling to try to find a transportation consultant, and having worked with John before, we asked if it would be a possibility. So I mean, it's not really their thing, to do transportation consulting, whereas this Vanderwall, that's what he does.
And they don't have to reinvent the wheel, so,
Right.
okay.
I mean, if I may too, this applied to Insight, is who we did our demographic study.
And that's
They
what he-
pinpointed all of our students and enrollments and projected, I mean, he is data intensive.
Yeah, and that's what he was basing his
Right.
off of. He was gonna make a dot on the map and start drawing bus routes around, and he thought that was gonna be pretty labor intensive, so.
Okay.
I'm sure well capable, but not that much more capable.
Okay.
$15,000.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. First, Mr. Miller, administrative report.
All right, first off, this morning we had 927 kids in the building, which is about where we figured we'd be with the big senior class going out and small kindergarten coming in. One thing I do want to talk to the board a little bit about though is early childhood. I did mention the last time that our numbers were creeping up there. Last year we had, I think we had 38 kids in the program, the 4-5s program last year, so we knocked it down to 2 classes. We had 3 classes the year before that because we had 48. We're actually up to 46 right now, and the state recommends that we don't put more than 20 in a room, and those rooms are small, so I would concur that we don't want more than 20 in the room. So I guess I'm looking for some direction if we should look for another teacher or tell students that we're closed. I mean, that's where we're at.
I say another teacher.
All right, we will post for one, see what we can get, and then at the next board meeting, we can approve. Classes actually start on the 18th of September, so we do have 5 days. I want to talk a little bit about, we had our first early out on September 6th. I felt that it was a good experience. Kind of generic to start with. I mean, we went through with the teachers, we went through some workstation training. You gotta remember we have all new technology for these folks, so we went through some workstation training and how to maximize their usage on that. We did an iPad tutorial in how to, some basic functions that can be used in education. And then I started some Google training, because one of the things that we did this year is we've dabbled in Google, but we still had Microsoft available to all of our people, and we cut them off with Microsoft now, and we're transferring completely over to Google, so we're trying to make that transition as smooth as possible. I mean, there are some glitches here and there that we're trying to work through, but I felt it was a good night. You guys concur? It was timing well worked, and we'll continue next week with some more. We gotta try to get this technology stuff off the ground, so this Wednesday we're gonna be still hitting it. As far as the paras, then they're not here as long, but we did a little training on employee handbook expectations, and then got a little bit into disabilities so that they can understand more what their students that they're working with. So I think it was a valuable experience so far. So it's just week 1. Wednesday's coming up again. We had, well, I'll talk a little bit more. I can skip more on that slide, but we were a little bit concerned, obviously, in the elementary as to daycare issues. We did have 9 extra kids in daycare that night. So we were able to absorb that fairly easily, and it went pretty smooth. Buses came on time, kids needed to go, so far so good. A little bit on staff development. We have formed a staff development committee now. We met a couple times this summer. We're going to be meeting once a month throughout the school year. Our main focus, of course, is planning those early outs, because we want them to be as useful as we possibly can. The other thing I want to talk about, the other night when we were at that collaboration meeting, you heard Noel talk about 21st century teachers. And one of the things that he brought up is in successful schools, schools allow teachers time to go visit other teachers so they can see what others are doing. And we're messing around with that a little bit in Franklin. I've set up a schedule so once a month they will go visit somebody else for an hour. We're paying for that through Title I. We bring in a sub. They go to one class for an hour, go to the next class, and it takes us 3 full days to get through that. We're going to dabble around with it in Franklin for a while, and if we find that it's successful, we may expand it further. Of course, Franklin is the one that has the title dollars, so we can play with that. But, so we might be talking about that further. Let's see, a little bit about. So it was good to see the kids back this week. It's kind of a long summer in here. Just a handful of people. We kind of got sick of each other, so it's good to see the kids back in the building, smiling faces. Wanted to introduce the board to some of our new staff in the Franklin. The guy up on the screen is Robert Heinrichs. He's the new health and PE teacher that took over for Miss Bionich. He's got her position, so he's doing some swimming in the elementary, and he's got a couple of high school health classes. Ms. Kralitch is the 4th grade teacher that we hired this year. She comes to us with a year of experience from Marquette last year. And Debbie Jackson is our primary special ed teacher. She's doing K-1 too. She comes to us with a little bit of experience from Midlake. You already heard us mention Reggie Dabbs came in on the second day. Got the kids real fired up. I thought he was very good. He had a good message in between some great music. And definitely a lot of positive comments from students. And actually, we had a family night that night, and it was a nice crowd there.
I snuck up there.
Did you?
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm surprised how full the auditorium was for that late of a show.
Yeah, it was
Pretty
pretty
good
cool.
show.
I already talked about the very things, so we'll move on to Mr. Williams. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to comment on our open house on Thursday, August 31st. We had a really good result for our open house. Laura Tassoni, the high school secretary, and myself, we were busy from nonstop with kids coming in, getting walks and looking for their schedules and their lockers, and putting up cookies and the drinks, but it was very busy. Our student rep, Haley Ward, did talk about our welcome back kickoff that we had. There's a picture of the knocker balls that the National Guard brought, and then the obstacle course also. One thing she did mention, and I want to make sure that they get recognition, is Alice Upancic from IGA did donate the hamburgers, buns, paper plates, napkins for our barbecue. And we were struggling to find enough barbecue grills and people to grill during lunch because we had to be supervising, so who was going to be grilling. And so at the last second, we decided, well, actually it was Tim Strasser, his idea, let's go ask the Rink or another restaurant in the area because they have bigger grills, they could grill more at one time, let's bring those hamburgers down to them. And so they checked out the Rink in Michelle Woods for over 2.5 hours, grilled 300 hamburgers for us. So very appreciative of that. Also, before we go on to the next slide too, we do have 2 foreign exchange students that I just wanted to make you aware of. One is from Italy, her name is Lisa, and she'll be here for a half a year. And then we have a foreign exchange student from Norway who will be here with us for the whole year, and her first name is Julie.
Thank you for planning that, the knocker ball and stuff. I heard a lot about it.
I was very nervous for it because it was something that I have never participated in or planned, and I had 4 guys I was working with, and they were always so confident that it will all work out, and I wanted more details and I wanted it planned. But it did work out. So.
I wanted to come back to school just for that day.
Yeah. This was mentioned already about Reggie Dabbs. Day program went well, and there you have a line of students that after the program came to shake his hand and say thank you for your story. They really appreciated him being there, and kids were telling me too that, we need to get him again here. And then the evening program that was mentioned, I was at that evening program, and it was a very good turnout. A lot of the kids came back, so if you have kids coming back for the second show, he must have been pretty good. A new staff member, we do have Robert Heinrichs, he was shown before. He's doing that high school health, but this is Tucker Keene. He will be doing social studies for our building, the high school, and over at the junior high. And he's also doing special ed here too. So .6 social studies and .4 special ed. And that's all I have.
At the Gilbert campus, again, we had a great open house, and we ran out of cookies about halfway through, so.
Well,
But
the
anyway,
key to that is you only put out a little at a time.
we moved that. Anyway, we had a great turnout for that, and kids came, got their schedules and everything. I just want to thank Reggie Dabbs. I had met him about 10 years ago, and I'm glad we brought him in. Kids really enjoyed it, got the good message, and like I said, we had a good turnout in the evening as well. Going on to a couple new staff members at Gilbert campus. We have Ann Riles. She's a 6th grade teacher. Again, we want to welcome her. And Christopher McIntyre will be our Nelshin special education teacher this year. He comes to us by way of Minneapolis and Point Barrow, Alaska, the most northern school district in the United States of America.
In the world.
In the world. And then we also have something coming in to our campus this year. You can see Ms. Belt there putting a little tiny square sticker on this big white piece of paper, and it's very difficult to see from this angle. But each little square sticker is a different color, and it's the AR challenge. And so we have students passing the AR test. Each time they pass, they can get a little sticker and start putting it on this poster. And by the time we're finished, we hope to have a beautiful some piece of artwork, and I'll share it with you when we meet our goals. So, thank you very much.
All right, a couple things. One thing I failed to put on, thing that I want to just update the board on is we've talked several times about our security system, fire alarm system failing. It was deemed that it was due to a fire strike, and the insurance company gave us the okay to get a new one. The problem has been getting a new one at this point, so probably, hopefully, the next meeting we'll have something in front of you to approve and get that moving. The insurance company is real interested in that getting done, so that's that. And finally, on September 25th, remember we have the collaboration meeting at 6. That means we'll have our regular meeting at 5. I did get almost everything done now, so this meeting I pushed a lot of things up, so we will not have a whole lot on the agenda tonight. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
We're breaking, we're back in full session.